With the New York Knicks season coming to an end, it is time to kind of take a dive into what is the optimal playoff matchup for this team. They are officially the 3 seed after beating the Chicago Bulls tonight. And with teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Orlando Magic, the Indiana Pacers, even the Philadelphia 76ers as potential first round matchups, Dariel and I are going to take a dive into which team we want to face the most and which team we want to face the least, and then maybe go in a second round a little bit. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. We're back on the duos. Let's do this, Dariel. I'm going to throw it right to you. What team do you want to see the New York Knicks play in round 1 of the 2024 NBA playoffs?
First and foremost, I want to say thank you for that amazing intro and thank you for introducing me. I haven't seen you on a duo in a minute, my guy. I miss you.
Way too long.
I'm glad we're back. To answer your question, who would I want to see in the first round? So right now, we would be matching up with the Indiana Pacers if the playoffs theoretically started tomorrow. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad matchup because not even a couple weeks ago, a few days ago, it was going to be Orlando Magic in the first round. And we've been talking back and forth offline. And we were saying how we do not want to see the Orlando Magic in the first round. I'm sorry, Knicks fans. I know we have Jalen Brunson. And I know we're super confident. But we also got to be realistic. If we go into the first round going up against a hungry Paolo Banchero, a hungry Orlando Magic team who have nothing to lose, and we don't have a Julius Randle who's healthy. OJ Anunoby is still trying to play his way back. Mitchell Robinson, the same thing. I think the Orlando Magic first round it'll be a scary one. So hopefully we don't see them in the first round. Now, the Indiana Pacers is interesting because Tyrese Halliburton, ever since the All-Star break, he's just been a completely different player. And I'm not saying that in a positive way. I'm saying it in a negative way. And I think it's because of that hamstring, bro. Right before the All-Star break, he had a really bad, a split right in the middle of the paint. And he messed up. He strained his hamstring pretty bad. And I think he's playing through that injury, bro. And I think he came back early because he wanted to hit the 65 game quota for the All NBA selections and all that stuff. So we got to take that into account. But then, the Indiana Pacers, they also have Miles Turner, who's an experienced big, who can stretch the floor, who can put the ball on the floor, who has a nice post-up game. They have young players like Benedict Mathurin, Andrew Nesmith. I think Mathurin actually went out with the surgery, so I'm not sure if he's going to be playing. So I think I meant to say Nesmith. But they have talent, man. But between Orlando and Indiana, I think Indiana, it would be the better matchup for us where we could advance to the second round. So my answer would be Indiana. Cleveland is another one as well, because Cleveland, I think, to me, is a mess. I mean, they had their moments in the season where they won 18 out of 20, and during that stretch, they didn't have Darius Garland or Evan Mobley, and Evan Mobley looks like he's expanding his game a little bit more. So Cleveland, maybe I would want to see them, but then you also got to take into account how they'll have revenge on their mind, how we embarrassed them last season. So ideally, out of Cleveland, Orlando, and Indiana, I think Indiana would be the safe bet.
I would agree that the Indiana Pacers are certainly the easier matchup. Tyrese Halliburton probably injured because of that hamstring. He came back too fast. I don't think he should sit the rest of the season out because it's not the greatest look at this point to leave. But I think he probably should have taken a lot more time with that injury. He probably tried to rush back because the All-NBA stuff, which is just a horrific idea. That stuff obviously doesn't matter. I could be way off. Obviously a crazy competitor. He wants to win more than anything else. I know he's not focused on personal awards or anything like that. But that stuff can get in your head. And also just, wanting to be out there for your team. I think the Pacers they don't play defense, man. Honestly, they don't. Yeah, Miles Turner, excellent shot blocker. But, Tyrese isn't really a defender. Aaron Nesmith's not special on defense. Pascal Siakam's a solid on-ball defender. He can't be the best on-ball defender on, a contender. I think the Pacers are going to lose the first round regardless because this lack of defense that they have. And I think their best chance is playing the Cavs because they have a 5-out offense, and that'll just screw with the Cavs completely. Obviously, that has nothing to do with the Knicks. I think the Knicks should want to play the Pacers. Being in that 3 seed gives you a really good chance to do it. You have to hope the 76ers don't jump in there, though I don't think the Knicks would lose to Philly. I think they would beat the 76ers. But, they do have 2 legit all-stars in Maxey and Embiid. And I'd rather play an injured Tyrese and Siakam over that.
Yeah, I mean, oh man. Okay, as far as Siakam and Indiana Pacers, like I feel like that gelling hasn't been as smooth as people thought. But I want to pick your brain about Philadelphia, yo, because Joel Embiid came back, and I thought he was done for the season, and I was under. Me personally, when you come back from an injury, that doesn't mean that the first day you step onto the court, you're gonna be like your old self. Joel Embiid was putting up historical numbers before he went down with that meniscus tear, and now he came back, and I think he dropped 37 points tonight. I forgot who he played. It might have been Detroit, but like, yo, it looks like he's getting back into form, which is not great news for the rest of the Eastern Conference. So like, what are you feeling? Do you think Joel Embiid will be playoff ready as far as stamina, conditioning, touches, and feeling? Like, do you think a Joel Embiid, maybe a 70% Joel Embiid, do you still think the Eastern Conference should be scared of that?
Yes, 100%. He's Joel Embiid. He's the reigning MVP for a reason. There's a reason why Joel Embiid is putting up these numbers. I understand. It's like, oh, he shoots a million free throws. Yeah, he does. I get it. But also, what are you going to do? Not foul Joel Embiid? He's massive. He's 7 feet tall. He's over 300 pounds. I'm convinced that weight, that is whatever weight's listed, we know is his rookie weight. The man's over 300 pounds, more finesse than almost any big man in NBA history. That's why he's drawing fouls, because there's no other way to defend him, because he's a monster who's stronger than the entire league. Also happens to be absolutely amazing when it comes to the sport of basketball at a skill level. I don't want any part of Joel Embiid in the playoffs. I'd love to watch the 76ers play the Bucks. I think that would be a fun series. That first game of the year when they played each other, the 76ers won. That was an awesome game of basketball. I want to see that again. I want to see that series.
Did you see Giannis? He went down with a calf strain tonight.
Yeah, I didn't really know if I was going to mention that. I was thinking about it, and then we have to talk about it. Like,
And,
he
and,
went to, he was running,
they might see Miami Heat again in the first round, yo.
And look what happened last time Giannis was injured. I understand the one game they won is when Giannis wasn't there, but I don't care. Giannis is one of the best players in the NBA. You need him on the court, obviously, if the Bucks want to get out of this. Well, Dame, but like still.
Yo,
Dame's a great player. He hasn't won a lot of playoff series in his career.
that's a fact. It's just, yo, this is so frustrating because look at everything that we talked about. We just talked about the Giannis calf injury. We just talked about Joel Embiid. He still has to play his way back. The Milwaukee Bucks as a team, they're just not gelling. They just look like a nightmare. I really think they're going to lose in the first round, more than likely in the second round, but I think it's a high possibility they lose in the first round. And I'm so frustrated because, of course, when the road was painted for us to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, what happens? The Knicks are like the Los Angeles Clippers of the East. We have a curse on us. Of course, when we have OJ Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein, Brunson, Hart, Dante, Julius, like we have OG, we have all these pieces in place. And then what happens? Of course, our second best player goes out with a shoulder injury and he's out for the rest of the season. And now the ceiling of our season is going to be a little lower. Like everything was perfectly placed for us and we just could not capitalize on it. And I'm so frustrated by that, man.
I think the biggest thing that sucks about this is the fact that everything is set up perfectly right now for there to be a Knicks versus Celtics Eastern Conference Finals. The two teams that have been around since day one, never changed their city, never changed their name. They could face off in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they still can, but it's without Julius Randle. We know how that series ends. There's no feasible way for the Knicks to beat a healthy Celtics team, which sucks because with Julius, they could have. And we don't get to see a series that not only would be great for the New York Knicks, especially for like free agency and trade target reasons, like, oh, this team's close. But now we're looking at a team that's just going to be depleted, and it's not going to be this series that could have made it so much money for the NBA, so they would be happy and really just elevated the Knicks into the respect of everyone around the league.
What I want to do, I want to talk to you about just the heater that he's been on. Check out, listen to these numbers, man. The last, 6 games? So tonight he dropped 45 against Chicago. The last game he had 43. The game before that he had 35. Before that, 35. Before that he had 20. That was his only stinker within the last, 6 games. So before the 20-point game, he had a 30 ball. And then he had the 61-point game against San Antonio Spurs and Victor Wembanyama. So out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out of 7 games, he had one stinker, and that stinker was 20 points, two rebounds, and 10 assists. Yo, I don't know, man. This guy is just every game I just get more impressed with him, and it's just like I know Melo's your boy, and I'm sorry to say this, But I never had this feeling with Melo as far as like confidence. Going into a game, going into the playoffs, I just never had this confidence of being like, yo, we have Brunson. Like, okay, the other team has a Giannis, the other team has a Dame, the other team has an Embiid. But I'm looking at it like, yo, we have Brunson. Like, he could go toe-to-toe with them.
I definitely think this is the first time since we've had Carmelo Anthony for most of us. I know there's a portion of the fan base that would agree with you that they didn't feel that with Carmelo, and then you have to go back to Pat Ewing. But I never felt that with Porzingis,
Hell no.
and I like Porzingis. I didn't for a while. I like him again. I think he's fine, but
No, he was never what Melo or Brunson is.
not at all.
No.
And even though he had more like star power, like that type of like I don't want to say aura because it's taken on a new meaning online almost. But Porzingis felt like he had that superstar, like that it factor to him where it's like, oh yeah, he's just cool. He's like becoming a celebrity as much as an NBA. Like they have that. That was never the case with Julius Randle. And it still isn't. But I never felt that was Julius Adler, who was better for the Knicks than Porzingis ever was.
Facts. Yeah.
Like Brunson's the first one in a while.
Yeah. In between Melo and Brunson, like Randall had that crown for a little bit. I'll give it to your boy. He definitely held down the Knicks. So salute to Randall. But it's Brunson's team. It's Brunson City right now. I think realistic Knicks fans can say that.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
All right, guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you for checking this one out. Leave it in the comments and let us know what you guys thought about the Knicks' effort tonight against the Chicago Bulls. And leave it in the comments and let us know what you guys think about Jalen Brunson being on a heater. He is that boy. But until next time, you know the drill. You know the vibes. Taj Gibson for president. Brunson for all the MVPs. The deuce is loose for co-MVP. And for Chris and I, we out, baby. Peace.